the multidimensional self, the soul, oversoul, and beyond. Let's talk about it today. It's very important, very important to understand and know. Whether you know it or not, you are a multidimensional being of staggering proportions. You are more than meets the eye, much more than your body, your mind, more than your soul. In fact, you are an integral part of the universe. Sure, the cosmos. You are part of the cosmos. As always, my articles are simply my perspective that I offer in the spirit of discovery and empowerment. Take what resonates and leave the rest. You are part of the composite consciousness. There is the universe and beyond. Exactly, that's how I think. You are present as many levels of reality simultaneously. Multidimensional and are more powerful than you ever imagined. When you think beyond this body, then you become more than you think you are. Are you ready to expand your concept of selfhood to include higher selves, other parallel selves, and probable selves? If so, then let's dive in. Most of us are familiar with the idea of the soul, the conception that our bodies are transient physical vessels for the internal energetic aspect of our consciousness, which is our true essence. Conventional science dismisses this idea, and so do many people. Yet, there are plenty of people that feel the presence of something greater within themselves, and you are probably one of them since you were attracted to this material. And as the greatest shift in the consciousness of humanity accelerates, more and more people are feeling this presence and connecting with it. Unfortunately, there are still many who are in the dark and just don't want to come out of it. If we take the existence of some sort of a higher aspect of itself as given, the next question becomes, is our current idea of the soul accurate and complete? No, it isn't. Not through religion's teachings. There are a growing number of sources that say that it's not, that it is overly simplistic. In fact, almost one-dimensional when compared to the new higher fidelity models being suggested. Some schools of thought subscribe to the very simple model shown below. This model portrays just two entities: Source, which is the cosmos, God and Source. They just show the one God and the Source, potentially connected to the bodies. Its most notable element is the soul is seen as created by, but separate from the Creator. This representation is very simple and easy to understand, but is a gross oversimplification. And the idea that we are separate from Source God is, well, just plain wrong. Luckily, fewer and fewer people are subscribed to this particular model. Another school of thought offers a somewhat more sophisticated model as shown below. It considers the soul a part of a wider higher entity referred to as the OverSoul. which in turn is part of the all-encompassing source God entity. This model is on the right track and hit open a couple of key elements. We are multi-layered beings, and every layer is part of and within each successive layer, and all part of and within the one encompassing being that we call Source God. Yet even this model is an oversimplification. To me, God is the universe, the cosmos is God. Virgo superclass is so far away, my God. So to me, God is the universe. Oh, I mean not the universe, the cosmos, which is everything, is all the multiverse. That's the cosmos. But what comes after that is the sub-product of those atoms, those quasar, those quarks that became many things, many splendid things, and then separated from its atoms. So here have a place, a God, source, cosmos, OverSoul, sub-source, okay, is an aspect of the Godhead, which to me, at least to me, is a cosmos that has detached itself, separated from its unity supply, and then it became parties, unique, not thousands, trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of its part, and one of those parts created different universe. So here we have OverSoul, which come from here, the cosmos OverSoul is a large fraction of the soul, is a minuscule fraction of the OverSoul. So this it becomes what demigods, subsource, demigods, soul, unity, ourselves. All there is can be animals, vegetables, and humans. Because at least me, I believe that everything there is a soul in it, a soul unity, a program in it, come from the cosmos. And then we have the sentient bodies here, the sentient body, all that exists. So this soul, the unity, the other, it lowered itself more to become what? Sentient bodies, which is everything that is not just humans but aliens, animals, vegetable, planets, stars, etc. All this is part of the big source, which we cannot say is a, we cannot define it. You cannot say it's a man, never, ever, ever, because it's a very big misunderstanding. It's a source. So thus a source will become all this here. It's a cosmos. It's amazing. those are the gods to me. This is what to me a god represents. And then when it is oscillate, it can become anything. It become a cluster of many different things. Okay, then become the oversoul to be like this a cluster, and then from this one unit can become many other. And then there's others were sub particles of these small units. You understand? So it considers the soul a part of a wider, higher entity. Is the oversoul. Referred to the oversoul, which in turn is part of the all-encompassing source God entity, which for me the cosmos. It just multiplies and then it divides itself and then turns into clusters. This model is on the right track and it opens a couple of key elements. That's why if you ask a scientists or Scientologists, they won't say that there's a God, an entity, blah blah blah. They will say that, well, they believe in the creation of the cosmos, the creation of the quasars and everything that exists, and that everything is made of what? Particles, atoms, and the subatomic particles and neutrons. We are multi-layered beings, and every layer is part of and within each successive layer, and all are part of and within the one called encompassing being that we all call. So as I say, there's all subdivision. In one unit there's many subdivisions in particles that of one single causal or atoms. Yet even this model is an oversimplification. A word of warning here: when you see the term being, think sentient energetic entity, not physical being. Most of us, but this is also something not correct, because the fourth dimension also is physical, one that we don't see them because they are made of fine particles of atoms and subatomic particles. They are made of a totally different particles than this body. I mean the body, this physical body, 3D. But they are a being nevertheless. Okay, they is entity as much as we are. Most of us have a tendency to personify the concept of being Nancy, but this is a mistake. The essence of all being Nancy is something non-physical, and that's why I will often use the term entity instead, because it avoids this trap. While the models presented certainly do reflect some aspects of the deeper reality, it is my contention that they are just gross approximations. In the remainder of this article, I will present a more sophisticated model that is a synthesis of ideas from a number of different sources and expands greatly beyond the models mentioned above. It suggests that we are multidimensional entities present on many levels of reality, simultaneously and more powerful than we have been led to believe or have ever imagined. Only a small portion of your total being is present in the physical body. that you may have erroneously assumed was all of you. The you that you identify as you is a part of a much bigger entity, which is ultimately also just a small part of the ultimate entity that is all there is, referred to through the ages by many sources: source, infinite, creator, or God. Yeah, that you identify as a part of a much bigger entity, just a small part of the ultimate entity. So what it means is that let's say that here is a humanoid. Okay, sorry, I don't know how to draw very well. Well, let's see, the sun is a body, and around here we carry, no, not we carry, the, the soul carry eyes. Okay, let's say that, okay, this is the oversoul. The soul is here around, overlapped, carrying this physical body. So this one would be the soul, and the sun is the oversoul. The oversoul is yet another larger part of these atoms that has become became an entity by itself to govern the soul, which governs the body. And there's other much higher reality overlapping all this. Okay, that is it's not known to us yet. So once we die, all these fractions will play a part in our memory after death. Okay, we start, for some of us, we'll start to remember all this. These are all clusters. So this is our multi-dimensionality. Okay, and then the center will have always a being, and then we make part this avatar here. The avatar we change, but these fractions here will always make part of our personality, and these other parts will always influence this part that we are having here, this soul, this present soul, because every time they will come back to, like, I would say, haunt us, and that's why we have bipolarity and multiplicity. Many people are always change themselves, and what we were at 7-year-old, at 4-year-old, we are not the same. We will not be the same at 12-year-old, at 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and so on and so forth. And as we grow older and older, we change path, because one of these fractions come into play in our current reality. Okay, one of these parts. Usually this fraction come from past memories, um, fractions that we had to carry, maybe come from our ancestor as well. So it's very complicated. It's a very complicated study, but we are trying to unravel. So here you see all the complexity that makes up our reality. It's here, all overlapping one another. And that's explain why we are the way we are, confused, sometimes mad, multiple bipolar, multiple polar, and just like the cats here. And then um, it doesn't help with the fact that sometimes there are even other external influences like ancestral influences, astral influences, or even walk-ins. Okay, walk-ins happen sometimes when we have a major we have a new near death experience. We have a major illness, or it can make part of the possession, etc., or accident, and then we come back new, different. Okay, there's many cases of walking. Some come with a mission. They come to take over that body. Sometimes that soul here doesn't want to stay here. It wants to get out of this body, and another walk-in come in to take over the body for many reasons. Sometimes for good, sometimes not for good. Okay, it all will depend. And also depend of this entity now. Depend on my soul, whether my soul wants or not to stay in this body. If I don't want, I may get very sick. I may near die, and then other soul will come in. That's why people change completely after that, after this episode that happens in our lives. So it's very important to understand all this, so as to navigate life when it becomes very hard to navigate, at the point of it make many people going crazy and do stupid things. And when I say stupid thing, I'm not talking about suicide alone, but people who do harm to other people. So there's many levels of reality simultaneously more powerful than we have believed or have ever imagined. Only a small portion of your total being is present in the physical body that you may have erroneously assumed was all of you. The you that you identify as you is a part of a much bigger entity, which is ultimately also just a small part of the ultimate entity, okay, which is the soul, which make part of the other big entity that is governing that soul, which is the oversoul, and that the oversoul doesn't only take care of your body but many others. They call it this oversoul. Let's say here there's a group of people here. So there's a group of people here. So there's a group of people, okay? Can be even your family. So there's a lot of eyes here. Can be your family, can be the human family. So what happened? What happened is that within this group, there's a OverSoul overseeing this. Okay, the OverSoul is overseeing this group of people. Can be human, can be the animals, anything. Can be a particular family group, like our family here. So there's a OverSoul looking up for this group. Okay, so it's always this way. Is present in the physical body that you may have erroneously assumed once all of you. The one that defines a part of massive pictures, materials, and small part of imagine that it is all there is. Referred to through the ages by the name Source, Infinity Creator. You are a multi-dimensional being of staggering proportions, and in your quest to know yourself and the nature of your existence, you have employed massive parallelism, higher selves. So, what exactly is a soul, and what in its relationship is its relationship to what some call God and others call source consciousness? I would say source consciousness. If you haven't heard the term source consciousness before, then this may come as a shock. The universe is conscious and it is very fabric. The universe is not at all what it appears from our very limited perspective. It's teeming with life, and there is no space there. It's all teeming with life. We exist inside of something resembling a great cosmic mind, often referred to as a cosmic universal consciousness. The cosmic universal consciousness. Okay, we make part of all this, and many part of us are all over there in parallel reality, not known to us because there's a blockage by design, not to make us see it. However, during dreams, after you sleep, you will go to these places. I've been already to a blue planet. I cannot say for sure which one was that. It was a blue place, very blue and beautiful, and I saw a lot of gray like creature like this. I saw, so I don't know whether it's a Ludra or many others blue one, but the size was not that big, so I would say that it could have been this one, Neptune. Yeah, could be Neptune, who knows. The planet of mystery. I went there. We go there usually to gather information about spirituality. So today I have a dream. I don't know. I saw this being. He was very large, immense, and he was like those pyramids, like the Azteca one, something like that. Very high pyramid, and I saw him from below, And he was there alive looking at us, and I didn't know how to compliment it, so I just say namaste. And then before he could answer, I woke up. Aludra, blue hypergiant stars. Oh, that's beautiful, very beautiful. I'm I'm fascinated by all these Antares, and Canis Majoris. Ooh, that's beautiful. Now my question is the following: Does the aliens, are the aliens able to cover up all this? Are they able to cover up all this with their technology? Can they go all over these places? If we saw, what I can say is wow, 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 wow. They might be so powerful to do this, to perform all this feat that we are not able to. Or can they only go to certain places and not others? That's the question need to find out. Nebula, helix. Ego Nebula. It's so beautiful. I'm really fascinated with that. I cannot wait to go and see all of this. When we die, we go to all these places. We go from one to one, take times, but we will go, we'll visit, and not just for visitation, but also for learning. Before you take another move and decide to reincarnate. Sleeping Beauty, Galaxy, Milky Way, so beautiful. I love all this. I'm fascinated with astronomy. Andromeda, Hypergalaxy, wow. Supercluster Virgo. Maybe I come from there this time. I don't know. Laniakia. It's so beautiful. As the term source consciousness suggests, all consciousness is derived from the universal field of consciousness. The consciousness of each and every one of us is an individualized thread of universal consciousness. Is a unit. This is what your soul is. It is a thread of universal consciousness with an associated repository of experiential information, local memory, and derivative ideas, all somehow encoded as a pattern of energy. Our soul is sentient energy, as is the entire universe. This idea is echoed by the modern day mystic and spiritual teacher Story Waters in his statement below that he made in his one self teaching. There is only one consciousness in all existence. The consciousness that I know myself as is the same consciousness. The consciousness that I know myself as is the same consciousness you know yourself as. Of course, why not? After all, we all come from the same source. Source consciousness is the intelligence that is created our universe, and it indirectly created all our souls. One of the fundamental capabilities of consciousness is the ability to subdivide itself, to create smaller individualized copies of itself within itself. It's like wait a minute, I'm gonna show something to show an analogy. A Russian doll can more or less explain this. When I was about 6 years old, someone gave me one of these. I don't know whether I think it was my friend who gave me one of those, and I love it to play with that. And I imagine, I don't know, in my mind comes something like, I don't know, a past memory that I want to remember but I couldn't. And I stay all the time, the whole time when I come back from school, I stay just there on the floor, play with this, open, close again, then put inside, then look at each doll and try to analyze it. Why it was there? Why they fabricated this? I was think why they make it like this. Then I was trying to understand why this must have a meaning. And when I grew up, then I understood. And then I'm gonna explain more or less. Okay, inside these dolls, inside this, let's explain that the cosmos created everything, right? Let's say that this one is the cosmos, the principal, the mother, the babushka, the Greek mother, babushka, like as the Russian says. So let's say that from her came a subdivision of herself, then become one that's almost her size. Then after that, her daughter gave birth to one, then another. Her granddaughter gave birth to another. Her granddaughter gave birth to another. Her great-granddaughter gave birth to another, until become many of them. And each one of them, of these clusters here, have a subdivision. You follow? Each of these clusters have a subdivision. Okay, but only now it is being created different. So this is what this represents. It didn't come out, the copy didn't come out exactly the same. It came out different. See? Different. So this doll, this Russian doll, tries to demonstrate, tries to represent what it represents in fact. Okay, is the creation of the cosmos, the creation of the cosmos source. Okay, and after it starts to multiply, its scope never was the same again. Always something different was created. So there comes the animals, the vegetation, the aliens, and many more entities. So that is the answer for this puzzle. That's why I'm not scared of things. I'm not scared. I can go out, I can see ghosts or spirit, and I'm not scared because I understand where they come from. I have nothing to fear. I don't fear because death is okay. I mean, we go back to source, we go back to the cosmos, and you can come up from there anytime you want to. So what's the problem? It's okay, I'm okay. So the only thing that I need to be afraid of is my own fears about living. There is only one consistency and all existence. The consistency that I know myself as is the same consistency you know yourself as. Of course, source consciousness is the intelligence there is, created our universe and is directly created all our soul indirectly. 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 Wow. So that's what means here indirectly. It was not on purpose. It was by default. Because it is subdivision creature created the other creatures and so on and so forth. Create all our souls. One of the fundamental capability of consciousness is the ability to subdivide itself like a Russian doll to create smaller individualized copies of itself within itself. Within itself. Understand? So it becomes a subgroups of creation. So Source used this mechanism to create the first level of sub-threads of its consciousness. What in effect could be thought of as sub-selves and sub-levels. Okay? It did this to explore and experience many Nancy rather than one Nancy, because like every time I have shown here some materials that I have gathered in the past about how it all started, because Saucy just couldn't be there and be hysteric, and it had a warning seat. Because all of the cosmos has warning seat, but we are not aware of it, that it has warning seat and has a consciousness. But however, it was not satisfied because it knew itself to be, just theoretically speaking. Theoretically, okay, he knows, hey, I'm aware, but who am I? What am I? But hello, I am as existent. I am something. But what I am without putting to practice. So what it did, it multiplied itself so that it could experientially, through actions, define itself. So the source used this mechanism to create the first level of sub-threads of its consciousness, what in effect could be thought of as sub-levels. It did this to explore and experience many seeds and become something that he was not. You understand? He wants to say, I want to know my potential, what I can be. So it divides itself in multiple trillions and trillions and trillions and quadrillions of sub-selves, many splendor things, rather than one in see, but more importantly as a strategy to accelerate the exploration of itself and existence, to accelerate its evolution, and you also know what is it was capable of. So wants to put into practice what he knew, it's not a he, not a she, what it knew as a theory, he want to put into practice. So true become what it was not, he could define itself on what it could become. Understand? This is a bit complicated, but if you are smart enough or wise enough, or you really want to understand, you will understand. It's simple when you understand the mechanism that source uses to accomplish subdivision and individuation. Subdivision means separation, and a multiplication, and then individuation of its consciousness. He was primarily that of lowering its frequency of a portion of its energies. So it was oscillating very fast. Okay, it was oscillating very fast. It was oscillating very, 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 very fast. Then it decided to lower its frequency very slow, lower, 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 so as to experience the physical. So it's lowered its frequency of a portion of its energy, stepping down into the lower frequency bands of the energetic field. This is part of the reason why subdivisions of consciousness operate somewhat independently of separated, yet are inherently part of and connected to the higher consciousness that spawned them. They are simply portion of the parent sentient energy at a significantly lower frequency level. Just like let's see here. When I was young, that's the only thing that I love much is to draw trees. I was fascinated by trees. I love it to draw trees and houses. So let's say here is that a tree. Let's say that here the root is the cosmos. The cosmos is the root, the source of everything. Here the trunk, it is parts which subdivision that generate other parts, and its branches and its leaves are its creatures. It's the creation that it creates. Okay, so let's say here that this one is a tree of life. Tree of life. So this one represents the source. It is the OverSoul. It can be divided into many parts, clusters, and then its individuation. It will be all the branches, the leaves, the flowers, everything that comes from it. So the mechanism that source uses to complete subdivision individuation of its consciousness was primarily that of lowering the frequency of portion of its energy, stepping them down into the lower frequency bands of the energetic field. This is part of the reason why subdivisions of consciousness operate somewhat independently of, yet are inherently part of and are connected to the higher consciousness that is found in them. They are simply portions of the parent sentient energies at a significantly lower frequential level. The subdivisions of consciousness that source created within itself is a very real sense, in a very real sense, can be considered its subselves. The subdivisions of consciousness that source created within itself in a very real sense can be considered its subselves. Even the lower creation, even those most dense creation, it is very low frequency band. And here's the really cool part. Anything that a sub-self experiences is also experienced by its parent higher self. It just forms the basis for an evolutionary strategy, massively parallel experiences. This means what? That he created all this. So everything that we do here is there's a source, like say a channel that sends off to them. Okay, so everything that we do here on earth so everything that we do here on earth, okay, the energies flows upward and it goes back to the cosmos, goes back to source. Okay, it feeds the source. So the source want to know, all the energies here need to go back to source upward. So that's why there's a say that goes Opa, I'm changing R for L. Multiply and bring everything back to me. Rather bring go on and experience, not multiply but experience, and bring everything back to me. I would say go on and experience what? Life. Go and experience life. Experience makes wisdom. Experience C creates wisdom. Okay? Experience C. Is the key word here. Experience C. So the subdivision of consciousness is also created within itself. The very real sense can be considered sub-selves, and here is the real cool part. Anything that a sub-self experiences is also experienced by this parent higher self, and thus forms the basis for an evolutionary strategy, massively parallel experiences. Parent higher selves, meaning who? The OverSoul, this species here, OverSoul, they feed off us through our experiences, and that's for this reason that we exist, just to supply energy offshore, and it serves as experience for them, the other side, to also to learn from us and also evolve from us. The process of subdivision of consciousness is a general capability and has been repeated by the sub-selves at each level of consciousness, and for the same reasons, to accelerate the evolution and thereby contribute to source's evolution. See that? Accelerate their evolution and contribute to source evolution, and at the same time feed them in many ways. That's what we serve here, to send the energies offshore, of world. Consciousness is like a multi-level branching structure. If we use a tree analogy, and I have used it already, and I haven't read yet this material. I just take it and I read straight away. If not, I won't have many voices because I don't talk so much. I don't talk to nobody. I'm very quiet, so I need to save my vocal cord to give lectures here. If we use a tree analogy, then source consciousness will be the tree trunk and the roots, because without the roots there is no plant. Am I right? So the trunk would be his subdivision, as I have elaborated. Okay, the trunk would be the trunk is his many part, the clusters. Okay, we would be this one here, and here gonna be the source, because through the root that things explode. So the source consciousness will be a tree trunk. The tree trunk then divided to bingo. Oh God, I swear I didn't read this before people think I'm cheating. I'm telling lie here. I'm telling the truth. See, I've analyzed it correctly. The tree trunk then divided into many large branches, which makes it subdivisions, or many oversouls, overseen as here. You understand? So which keep divided to smaller and smaller branches until we get two twigs if a leaf attached to the end of each, which keep dividing into smaller and smaller branches until we get to twigs if a leaf attached to the end of each. Wow. In this model, we could think of the leaves as this physical body. Exactly, that's the tree of life. That's what the tree of life symbolizes. And then as you move from the leaf towards the trunk, we encounter the soul level, and then the oversoul level, and then a number of additional levels till we reach the tree trunk coming out of the ground. The roots, and then source level to the ground, the source level. Note that even though the diagram above shows 7 levels, it's unclear how many levels there really are, or whether all branches have to have the same number of divisions levels. The only thing that's for sure is that there are more than 3 levels. Much more is infinite. Probably many more. Infinite. Trust me, is infinite. I have seen it. A number of sources indicate that there is a level above the oversoul that has been referred to as a soul group. What I say? The soul group. Animals has one, plant has one, human has one, and even within, as I said, within the human species, the human family, there is many different kind of soul, oversoul, overseeing them. So we as a human doesn't have just a oversoul. We have many subdivision. So each group of us have different oversoul. Okay, that's like this has been organized this way from what I have gathered. The other side below is a diagram illustrating the divisional structure of universal consciousness. According to some sources, there are 2,135 soul groups participating in the Earth experience. Exactly! Right now, who knows how many exist within souls in total? Probably much more, a lot. Each soul group entity is able to subdivide itself to create up to 144,000 oversouls, and each oversoul is able to create up to 12 souls. In each soul, up to 12 soul extensions. I'm gonna repeat this because it's very important. According to some sources, there are 2,135 soul groups participating in the Earth experience right now. That's how we are from the same source, but when it comes to division, to let's say, how to say, to experiential realities, we are divided. We are not the same because our oversouls differ from people to people, from family to family. Who knows how many exist within souls in total? Probably many more. Each soul group entity is able to subdivide itself to create up to 144,000 oversouls, and each oversoul is able to create up to 12 souls, and each soul up to 12 soul extensions. A soul extension is just another subdivision of consciousness which allows connection to physical vehicles, bodies, in the very lowest frequency bands. The consciousness that connects to a body to drive, it has to be within a certain distance frequently to achieve the connection. So the oversoul is always far away, sending energies and guidance. If you do the math, this leads to potentially 44 billion incarnating entities on Earth. Oh, wow. Or even more than that. Before was 200 billions. It's a lot. So what I can understand here is that when they say soul is able to create 12 soul, and each soul after 12 soul extension, they mean the multiplication. Like say, okay, I have children, and then my children have children, then their children have children, and their grandchildren have children, so on and so forth. This is what they mean by, just like the Russian doll analogy. They keep on multiply, you see, so it keep on carry on like for forevermore, for infinite, without time limit. And each one of that group, family group, one oversoul will be assigned to look after them. It can be our ancestor who have been dead a long time ago. One side of this is people, ancestral. Like say my grandchildren have different families, isn't it? Even though is one of their parents is my kid, but the other side he isn't, and so is my kids. Also his father. His father has his ancestral. Their father has his ancestral, and so what happened is that this is oversoul. Sometimes can be one of the ancestors. Okay, our ancestors from either parents' side. You understand what I mean? So they will be assigned to look after the certain, let's say, generation of the people that come in. Okay, it's like this. So an oversoul creates one or more souls for the purpose of connecting to physical bodies and the physical plans of existence. See, repeat, an oversoul creates one or more souls for the purpose of connecting to physical bodies and the physical plans of existence. The lower frequency bands of the universe. A physical body is simply a vehicle that the soul uses to have physical experiences. They call my horse. Sometimes they call my horse. I have been told that I was this guy horse. You know, they told me through spirit box. During I like to go in the garden here. It's not a common garden. That garden there is very creepy, very eerie, really creepy. It's not for everybody to step in there. All kind of creatures there. So I have been told that I want this being horse. It means what? That he could or not be my oversoul. You understand? Or he could be a fraction of my own soul speaking to me. A fraction of my own soul could be an ancestral or something like that. So physical life provides unique and highly formative experiences that are much sought after by a wide variety of non-physical beings. See, physical life provides unique and highly formative experiences that are much sought after, you see, by a wide variety of non-physical beings that feeds off us. They literally feed off us. Physical experience, while challenging, is a spiritual evolution fast track and therefore highly coveted. Wow! The 12 times 12 subdivisional instruction of the Oversoul allows each oversoul to have up to 144 sublevels that each can bind to physical bodies for 144 parallel physical lives. Wow, that's mind blowing, mind boggling. So the 12 times 12 subdivisional structure of the Oversoul allows each Oversoul to have up to 144 sublevels that each can bind to physical bodies for 144 parallel physical lives. Wow. And of course, one of these 144 sublevels in its body is you. Of course, why not? So they divide, one's Oversoul can divide into that many sublevels. You see? Up to 144. In a later, if I analyze this thing further, this material further, I will highlight how they do that and what they are, their characteristic. That each can bite to physical bodies for 144 parallel physical lives. And of course, one of these 144 sub-levels and its body is you, the higher self, the true self. Amongst those that embrace that they have a soul, many are still overly identified with their body as their identity. Even those that embrace the soul as their true identity may be missing a deeper appreciation of the true scope of their wider, higher self. Despite the fact that some use the term higher self as a synonym for the oversoul, I think it's better used to refer to all the levels of self, all the way up to and including source. The figure below illustrates this idea. As the figure illustrates, the chain of consciousness that spawned your soul, your oversoul, soul group, and every level all the way to source, all could be considered your higher self. But your oversoul is the level of your composite self that has direct responsibility for your soul's existence and interest in the quality of your experiences. That's why the oversoul is often thought of as your higher self. But you truly are a part of every level in the chain of your composite consciousness. It can potentially communicate with and draw information, knowledge, and guidance from any level of your multi-dimensional composite self. As the figures illustrate the chain of consciousness that spawned your soul, your oversoul, soul group in every level all the way to source, all could be considered your higher self. But your oversoul is the level of your composite self that has direct responsibility for your soul's existence and interest in the quality of your experiences. That's why the oversoul is often thought of as your higher self. But you truly are part of every level in the chain of your composite consciousness and can potentially communicate with and draw information, knowledge, and guidance from any level of your multidimensional composite self. Your body, in a sense, even your soul, were created as a transient, sentient entity to serve as an experiential and evolutionary vehicle for your oversoul. Wow. Your body, in a sense, even your soul, were created as a transient, sentient entity to serve as an experiential and evolutionary vehicle for your oversoul. So in a very real sense, you could consider the oversoul that spawned your soul as your true self. Yeah, that's true. And your oversoul is an immensely wise and powerful being that is always trying to encourage you to create the best experiences for yourself and to become the highest version of yourself. Version, not vision. Why? Because you are part of it. and is experiencing through you. At this point, you might be wondering, if this is true, why don't I know it and feel it? This is a very good question. When your soul incarnates, connects to a physical vehicle, it loses its memory of its great existence. The veil of forgetting is intentionally. It makes the Earth game a fully immersive and truly formative experience. The game of life would not be the same if you knew it was just a game. Yeah, and they say if everybody is to wake up, that's why many people not yet waked, because they say once everybody wake up, the game is over. They have to finish this project here and this experience because everybody wake up. We also lose a lot of that's why they are in a hurry for everybody to wake up and evolve, because they are in a hurry to create another reality. We also lose a lot of the fidelity of our connection to our higher self. OverSoul and source. This is an unavoidable consequence of incarnating to the lower frequency planes of existence, the physical planes. Our earthly level of consciousness is at a frequency so much lower than that of our higher self, that any stream of information coming down is subject to a larger reduction of fidelity due to the frequency step down required. Yet we could still have a very good connection with our higher self if it wasn't for one thing: our out of control ego. The constant chatter of the ego in an analytical mind creates so much mental noise that we can't hear the inner guiding voice of our higher self, but you can feel it. Essentially, the signal to noise ratio is so low that the information comes from our higher self gets drowned out. Hence, most people on earth have almost totally lost connection with the higher self and have completely forgotten what they really are. Yeah, that's true. But hey, that's the game. If they are to remember, then the game is over. What does it take to reestablish a clear connection to your higher self? For one thing, it takes a clear and quiet mind. One must quell the constant shadow of the analytical and egoic mind and the fear and worry that dominates it. Another thing that helps is to reduce our busyness. The constant distraction of a hectic daily life, the mundane, the material life, don't leave much space for the presence of the higher self. Another thing is to have a lot of company, friends, and then you are so immersed in the outer world that you forgot about your inner world. And it's only when we are alone, solitary, that we make a um, faster and a closer connection with the parallel worlds and to the invisible world. Making more time for solitude and meditation is a good start here and be alone. As poor as most people's connection to the higher self is, you have never really completely lost your connection to the other parts of your multidimensional self. Without realizing it, you've had communication between the different layers of your multidimensional self as well as the other higher dimensional beings, particularly in childhood when you were much more open and receptive. Since then, you have rejected, ignored, and forgotten most of these interdimensional experiences. simply because you didn't understand what they were and dismissed them as dreams, overactive imagination, hallucinations, etc. And especially parents who tell the children that they are making up a story and that they have no time for their fantasies, etc. I have always been very interested in what my children, when young of course, had to say about me, about their dreams. They could tell me about their dreams and I would give them my best answer based in what I knew then. I was very happy to listen to them and I would trust them and I would agree with them. And I will be very really excited to hear. If you would like to explore the topic of improve your connection to the higher levels of you, then check out my blog article Improve Your Connection to the Divine. Even though the loss of connection with our higher self could be seen as bad, it actually serves as one of the reasons why we devised the Earth game in the first place. To experience separation and to see what it could teach us. Separation from the source of our being see. Separation from the knowing that we are all parts of the great being and interconnected and interdependent. With the training, you can learn how to move your locus of consciousness to any level of your wider, higher self, your soul, oversoul, even source, and perceive from that higher perspective. In fact, you can move your locus of consciousness to anywhere in the infinite matrix. That's the conceptual information space of the universal field of consciousness. More on this in future articles. All the blogs. Other selves, parallel selves, and many lives. From the perspective of your oversoul, the higher, wider you, all the souls that it created and the extensions that are connected to physical bodies could be considered your other selves. From the perspective of your oversoul, the higher, wider you, all those souls that it created and the extension that are connected to physical bodies could be considered your other selves. Yeah, because it's all connected, like it's intertwined, like this, like a tapestry, all crisscrossing. By some accounts, this can be up to 144 parallel incarnations, and regardless of whether that exact number is correct, we can safely say that the higher you is experiencing many lives in parallel. Now, safely say that the higher you is experiencing many lives in parallel. And since at the end of a life, the sentient energy that once connected to a body can be reused for another body. The sentient energy that once connected to a body can be reused. Of course, why not? It's called reincarnation, isn't it? So why cannot? Your oversoul has experienced far more incarnations than this, perhaps thousands. This is why your oversoul is so wise. It's the sum of all the wisdom gleaned from a vast amount of experiences. Correct. Your many incarnations can be anywhere in the physical universe, in planet, in galaxy, in time period, past, present, or future. Our conception of time is wrong. Time is an illusion in any one of the planes of physical reality. But since you are here having an earth experience, it's very likely that many of the other lives the higher you is having are also here on earth, probably in other time periods. Wow, that's mighty boggling. This means our higher self is expanding itself and he's all over, like he's up, he's all over in the past, present moment, and future. And now we are here because it's all that we have, while the past is still existent. But we need to forget the past because we are living here now. So this see higher self is all over here. So but since you are having this experience, he is very likely that many of the other lives the higher you is having are also here on earth. Probably in other time periods, the earthly reality system provides challenge. So your many incarnations can be anywhere in the physical universe. The earthly reality system provides challenging yet highly formative experiences that are appropriate for further advanced beings. So if you are currently engaged here, then it's likely that most of your other selves are here as well. Because anything less would be boring. Oh my gosh. But since you are here having on earth experience, it's very likely that many of the other lives the higher you is having are also here on earth, probably in other time periods, other timelines. The earth reality system provides challenging yet highly formative experiences that are appropriate for fully advanced beings. So if you are currently engaged here, then it's likely that most of your other selves are here as well, because anything less would be boring. This is what they call the twin flame and twin flame. The diagram below visually illustrates all the parallel incarnations associated with a given OverSoul, past and future lives. Using a technique known as past life regression, wait a minute. Using a technique known as past life regression, you can actually visit or see your other lives. By see, I mean have an inner experience here. This is done by going into a trance state via hypnosis or deep relaxation, and then being guided by suggestion or your own intent to visit the experiences of your other selves, your other lives. In the trance state, the earthly mind is quieted and one can perceive from the vantage point of any level of one's higher self and sense the experiences of any of their parallel lives. All these experiences are recorded in the energy information field of your higher self and are accessible if you center the focus of your consciousness in one of the levels of your higher self. Depending on the level, you may see the lives experienced by your soul or your oversoul, perhaps even higher levels of yourself. The term past life regression is a bit of a misnomer since your other lives are all happening simultaneously and can be in any time period, past or future. If visiting a future life seems illogical or impossible to you, then you might want to check out my article on the illusion of time and the many thousands of regressions that have been done. Many have reported seeing portions of lives that work clearly in the future rather than in the past. Most people focus on exploring the past lives because, with our erroneous conception of linear time, we think that the past is recorded and therefore potentially can be explored. But the future hasn't happened yet, so isn't recorded and can't be visited. The future is just a suggestion, you who dispose of it. There are also many people who have reported experiences from what could be called the interlife period, the time between physical earthly life after when you die, then you kind of wait dead, and it's called the interlife period. A common report from these experiences is that our many lives are all somehow happening at once. Yet other people have reported an apparent sequential process of coming out of one life, reviewing it, planning, and then starting the next, which seems to contradict all at once. This is likely due to the fact that non-linear concepts are very hard for our earthly minds to understand and express, so we will often express them linearly. Yeah. To dive deeper into the topic of past life regression, I recommend the following book: Probable Selves, Parallel Selves, and Many Life Paths. Many possible paths of life experience. Another way that your higher self accelerates its evolution through the use of parallelism is to experience all possible probable life paths. Have you ever wondered what would have happened if you had made a different choice at a critical junction in your life? Well, I really don't want even to think about it because it already happened. The crap has happened and there's nothing I can do. The other thing, so I don't like to cry over spilled milk. I just try to live life the best way that I can, and I try to forget the mistake I have made in life, the decisions which I have made, which have I mean, it didn't serve me at all and did me a lot of harm. So I don't want to think about it because it's, I mean, even though it's not over yet, but I don't want to think about it. I don't want to mourn it and think about it. What's done is done. Well, so did your soul. Have you ever wondered what would have happened if you had made a different choice at the critical junction in your life? Well, so did your soul. But instead of just wondering, it divides its consciousness yet again, creates a sub-thread of its consciousness to follow and experience each alternate life path. Yeah, by make another choice if you have the condition to do it. Huh? Depends on circumstances. And if you can make it different, then do it. At every decision point of your insignificancy, one portion of your soul's sentiency follows branch A, and another follows branch B. Your soul is experiencing all possible, probable life paths and parallel. The you that you think of as you is simply a sub-thread of your soul that is experiencing a particular branch of the life path, decision tree. Your soul and oversoul are then integrated all those threads of experience and are getting wiser very rapidly because of it. At every significant decision point on a life path, the path branches a decision tree represents all possible paths. All of these are experienced by your soul. This mechanism creates a massively parallel experience which maximizes the evolutionary potential for the soul, for the oversoul, and for source. Since all experiences are experienced by your higher consciousness, they trickle up. The soul threads that follow each of the possible paths of experience could, in a sense, be called probable selves, because there is one for each possible probable life path. These probable selves are all very real, and so are all the alternate experiences that are having and is all being accumulated by a higher level of self. Imagining how much one could learn by experiencing every possible alternative life path and all the outcomes. You would learn and grow very fast. That's the reason why we designed the process this way. The hasty self, the one self, life has everything to do with you. But with big you, not with little you. With universal you, not with local you. There is only one of us. Neil Donald Wosk. Once you understand and embrace the multidimensional nature of your being, your perspective will broaden greatly. You may begin to see yourself not as the body and the ego that's running around here on earth, but as your true essence, your internal higher self. You might even embrace that in a very real sense your highest self is source consciousness. I am the internal state of being within each and every one of you, source consciousness. And an even greater realization may come over you. The realization that since the consciousness of all entities, beings, are ultimately threads of source consciousness, and hence we are all parts of the one universal consciousness, that in a very real sense there is only one self. All levels of consciousness and all focal points of consciousness, being and are ultimately within and integral parts of source consciousness, the one being. And this one being is your highest self. So in a sense, all beings could be considered yourself. This is why it makes sense to treat all beings with the utmost respect, care, encouragement, because it's all you. Here's a message from our source that reinforces what I've been saying here. I am the internal state of being within each and every one of you. I am you. You are me. We are one. One for all and all for one. That's the motto. So this has been a very beautiful material, very beautiful teaching and information. And so it all for now.